And welcome to our last gathering of 2025. We've been doing this for a whole year. I think it's pretty awesome. And as to get started here, let's just settle in. Let's experience the truth. There's only one presence. There's only one power. There's only one love active in my life, active in the world. God the good, omnipotent. This experience that we're each of us having, wherever we are, whatever our environment, is the experience of God in this particular time and space, moment, place, nothing but God. As far as the eye can see, outside and inside, God, spirit, divine presence, the only thing happening, including that little voice in our head that says, that's not true. There's only one thing going on. And to underscore this, we'll ask Lillian to share with us today's daily word as it comes up on the screen. And
Okay, and today's word is blessings. Blessings come into my life in the most unexpected ways. I am blessed to live each day in the presence of God. As I turn within and quiet my thoughts, I open to God within. Grounded in this presence of wisdom, love, and peace, I feel connected with the divinity of all beings. In this awareness, I become newly aware of expressions of God everywhere. I feel blessed to behold nature's beauty, perhaps snow glistening in the moonlight or the sun warming the earth, and birds soaring across the horizon. I find joy in smiling faces. I hear the laughter of friends sharing simple pleasures. I enjoy the beauty of holiday decorations hung with care and appreciate the sacredness they represent. Acts of selfless service show me God's love in action. I am grateful for these blessings and for my infinite unfolding good. And from Jeremiah 17 is blessed are those who trust in the Lord, whose trust is the Lord.
oh, thank you, Lillian. Blessings come into my life in the most unexpected ways. Let's affirm that together. Blessings
Blessings
come
come
into my
into my
life
life
in the most
in the most
unexpected
unexpected
ways.
ways.
I think that's interesting in the light of what we were discussing before we started here about power outages on Christmas Day in Carmel and so forth. Unexpected ways. So, last week we finished our first 6 lessons of the Unity Correspondence course, which is considered the introductory section. There's an advanced section which consists of another, I believe, 8 courses that we will pick up next year. Um, but we talked about taking a time out from the correspondence course to take a look at Charles Fillmore's statement of faith, or what Fillmore calls Unity's statement of faith. But before we do that, I thought it might be of value to just do any reflection on our year together, what we may have learned, what we may have discovered, what we may have found of value in this work together. And once we complete that, we'll pick up, we'll take a look at the statement of faith. But I'm a reflecting kind of guy, so I just wanted to open up the floor to anybody that would like to share. But your experience of being part of this um, fascinating review of something that Charles Fillmore and his team put together over 100 years ago. Yeah, Leo.
I would like to thank all people here to have me, and I cannot imagine how I could have advanced the way I did this year without you guys. Thank you for that.
Cool. Thanks, Leo.
I really marvel at what Fillmore, and I think maybe he had other writers. I don't know, Marty, you could, you might enlighten us. But what Fillmore put together and his consciousness of these ideas in the 1910s and 20s in a time when, things were really pretty scary in the world. It was, World War One and then after World War One and um it amazes me. I mean, it really does because, I've been studying this for quite a while and I'm still trying to practice some of these principles or even remember some of these principles. So I'm very impressed with his enlightenment. And I'm not really a Fillmore fan. I'm more Myrtle and Emily, but I'm very impressed with this.
Thank you.
So what is the please tell me again the origin story. When we're done with this, are we all going to be able to be ministers?
Well, you know what Dorothy Pearson would say.
Yeah, I do.
For those who may not know what Dorothy Pearson would say, what would Dorothy say, Claudia?
She would say, "You are a
Yeah.
minister." She would, as Phil used to joke, Dorothy never met a waiter that she wouldn't say to, you ought to go into the ministry. So,
Claudia,
yeah.
is she someone that was your friend? Is she a modern time person? Or was she a teacher from the old days?
She was Fillmore's protege. She was in the Unity
Ah,
movement when she was 19 or 20 years old. She had just recovered from tuberculosis. And correct me if I'm wrong, Marty, because I embellish stories sometimes I've observed. And she had tuberculosis. She was living in Washington. She was in the hospital. She got out and she heard Fillmore speak in in her community. And I think she was 18. She decided to go to Unity Village and study to be a minister under with Fillmore. And I think Cora was alive then too, Marty. I was trying to think about this.
Yeah, she
And
was
then,
there. She was there after Myrtle died.
oh, she was there after Myrtle died.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she got there in 1938, and I think Myrtle died in 34. So Charles had
Oh,
remarried Cora.
by that time.
Right.
So anyway, so that's who she was. She was her name is Dorothy. Well, it wasn't Pearson at the time. And then she established several ministries with first with her first husband and then with her second husband, who was Phil Pearson, and they came to Sacramento in the 60s and set up a Unity church here. And we just read the obit and rewrote the obit. So they set up about 8 Unity churches throughout the region, Janet, that they sponsored, that we sponsored, and that they were our ministers. That's where Marty and I met. That's
wow.
where Gail and I met.
Oh,
So we had this church that is the rallying cry or the invitational list that brought us here together was a second Sacramento church that Phil led. He started that church 10 years ago. Claudia and I were on the board of that church. And then after Phil left, I actually was the speaker for 3.5 years at the church. So we feel that we had a direct transmission from Charles Fillmore through Dorothy, who was his protege for 10 years, the last 10 years of Charles's life. And then by virtue of being the minister of our church, first of all, Christ Unity Church, which she and Phil ministered at for 35, 36 years. I forget exactly how long, but a long time. And then after she passed, Phil came back and started this capital city unity that we've all been part of. So I feel that we have direct transmission. That may be hyperbole, but I don't care. I'm claiming it.
Well, at least we have 6 degrees of separation, if nothing else.
Well, we
That's a
just
powerful legacy. What you just explained to me means you're all in the. It's a very interesting story. Thank you.
well now you're in it.
On the fringes.
I don't consider this Frenchy, but okay.
Well, I'm fringy in what I can offer, but I certainly am what's the word? Committed. I'm committed. And and I'll say my thank you message and just say it's been astounding to me to find a fellowship of people who believe what I believe and who already believed it before I found them. And I think, wow, you wait long enough and the miracle happens. So I'm so happy to know you all.
Well,
And
you're
just to add to Dorothy's story, Carmel is about 3 hours from Sacramento, Claudia. About 3 hours.
More, 3.5, 4 hours. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, she even came down to Sacramento and started a branch.
To Carmel, you mean?
Yeah, to Monterey actually, which is a bigger city next to Carmel. But Dorothy came down, and I mean, they were just very eager to spread the word.
Uh,
and
so
I
she
actually
devoted her whole life. I mean, really, if she
yep,
started when she was 20-ish,
yep,
wow, that's quite something. Did
yep.
she write any books, Claudia? Did she write
Yes.
books?
She wrote poetry and she published poetry books. So
Oh,
she has a couple of poetry books, some really classic Unity poems, and you come across her writings quite a bit. Yeah.
okay.
There actually is a Dorothy Pearson archive or Dorothy Pearson collection in the archives at Unity Village, and sermons and all and writings. And there actually is a book of she and Phil had a newsletter ministry after they left Christ Unity Church, and she and Phil did a monthly, I think it was monthly newsletter. So there's a book that has a collection of all of those writings that they did together.
I
Is
think
she
that there
on Mark
must,
Hick's website? Is she on the Truth Unity website? Did he collect her
No,
stuff?
no,
No.
I've been chivying him on that.
Okay.
what they were also really known for was a television show called The Best Is Yet to Be that came out in the 70s, and it broadcasts on many stations, um, all the way to New York. And so it was a 30-minute interview format. He interviewed Buckminster Fuller and Deepak Chopra and Wayne Dwyer. So he was a real, where the brain meets the metaphysics. He was really always trying to prove scientifically what she knew just by faith. And so it was always an interesting combination.
It sounds like Charles and Myrtle. I mean, it kind of was a combo of two different strains to God, and that's really
Yeah.
fascinating.
Or Desi and
Uh,
Lucy.
Burns and Allen. I'm really aging myself by saying
Yeah.
that.
It's okay. I think the group got it.
Well, Kevin might not. I don't
I
know.
was just going to say everybody but our youngster, Kevin.
Well, I got the Lucy one. The other one, no.
not so
Okay.
much.
But I got the drift. We're
Bread
kind of
and ginger,
straying from.
yeah.
The you can abstract it to it really was they really were the representative of the union of the feminine and masculine energies and
I think,
embodying that.
yeah, I think Eric Butterworth and Olga in New York had a similar partnership. But I don't know too many other big names in the unity movement that have that, that co-pilot. And in any given time, the other person was the co-pilot.
I actually, Janet, think that something you may not appreciate, but you live in the area where Emerson lived, and Emerson was the godfather of all this stuff.
I never made the connection till I started hearing you actually say that and talk about it. But I always liked him. I liked to sit outside his house. I got, little benches outside, and I would just, when I was a teenager, and go out there on a bus and sit there and just didn't really know that much about him, but it radiated like through the property. Spiritual energy stays forever, and I always liked him. And I also learned something fascinating today when I was trying to find these 32 things, and I heard that the unity, the practical Christianity started with the Fillmores being Christian Scientists. And then it went on to build into the New Thought and all the spin-offs. And I started with Christian Science and went the other way through all the New Thought teachers. And then finally came to Emily Cady. And then, like 10 years ago, came to Myrtle. And this year, I'm going to start with Charles. I'm letting Charles in. I'm going to start to read some of his stuff. As I think it's that Christian Science had a lot to offer. Poor Mary Baker Eddy got a little off the rails, but she certainly got some good teachers out there. And so you learn something every day.
I don't think they were Christian Science. I think they followed, who was it, Marty, the teacher?
Emma Curtis Hopkins. Emma Curtis Hopkins.
There you go.
Well, she was a Christian Science. She was like the second in command.
Right.
Okay.
I think we're losing them.
Uh-oh, don't tell me that there's electricity outage in Nichols.
I think we're back.
Okay, good.
I think
your voice is back, but not your picture. You're frozen in your picture.
Lillian's gone.
It might be too much bandwidth with video and audio for both of you right this second. There we are.
That's right. You're in the same house.
No, we're fine, but she's probably. Can you?
She's frozen.
And now you're frozen again. Lillian's back.
And Claudia's gone. While we're waiting for Claudia to reconnect, just a quick note about Mary Baker Eddy. She was trained by Phineas Quimby, who is considered to be the founder of New Thought. And Quimby was a physician, I think, in Maine, who learned how you can do physical healing at a distance. And he tried to figure out how this was all rooted in the Bible. And so he was the guy who began to put together the powers of healing with the biblical antecedents of all that. And that's really what the Fillmores, for me, have offered, is to eventually see the Bible as a metaphysical instruction manual and explanation of all of these powers. Claudia, welcome back.
Thanks. Lillian's moved to a different venue. Pretty soon you'll see all my Christmas decorations.
I'm going to say, is she out in the barn yet?
No, no. Um, I was going to say that Marty gave an amazing, amazing talk. Um, maybe 4 years ago on the, or maybe longer, I don't know, on the history of the movement. And starting with Marty, what was the group that it started with?
You talking about Quimby or
I was talking about the I don't know, is the I'm blocking on it, but it was the group that was in the valley in Massachusetts, New Hampshire, that whole group. Sorry,
Transcendentalist? The
well,
transcendental?
yeah, it was around the Transcendentalist time, but it was some group. Anyway, let's go on, and it might come to me, and it might not.
it ought to come to me. You'd think if I gave this brilliant talk, but I'm not connecting.
When
Well,
it
it was
does, how
this.
about a reprise?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's on YouTube somewhere.
The Something Valley group. Does that ring a bell?
Well, I don't know if you're referring to the talk I gave on Emily Cady and the Burnt Over District in upstate New York, which was part of the Second Great Awakening that occurred in the 1830s, 1840s in that part of the United States.
I thought yeah, like the Hudson Valley. Is it something like that, Marty?
Well, that's where all that stuff happened. And I was just drawing a connection that Emily Cady was born into that fervor of the Second Great Awakening. And part of the Second Great Awakening, for those of you who know your American history, is the desire to connect personally to spirit. The Second Great Awakening was just like the First Great Awakening, which had happened several centuries earlier, was a reaction against deism, the deism of the founding fathers, and making God kind of this disembodied principle, which we all know from our work, principle, God is principle. But people wanted a direct personal connection with God, a felt connection. And the Second Great Awakening was an attempt to generate that emotional connection to God. And then that's where that's that's the world that she was born into and grew up in.
Marty, did the Shakers ever connect with what turned out to be New Thought stuff when they were running around?
I don't know.
Oh,
That's a good question.
well, if you didn't find them in your research for your talks, I doubt they did.
There's a number of really great books, but one in particular is called Spirits in Rebellion. And I think Charles Braden is the author, and he chronicles all of this stuff. I mean, it'll tell you way more than you ever wanted to know. Um, for those of you who have a historical bent and like me, enjoy seeing how all these things connect together,
Mm-hmm.
and therefore how we connect to our own history.
Hmm.
Anything else that is on anyone's heart to share about your experience this year? Um, One thing that I'd like to just offer, and this kind of goes to something that you said, Claudia, and others have commented on. I find it easier to read Charles Fillmore when we read him together. And Fillmore has a very distinctive way of writing, and what's missing for me in Fillmore's writing that his wife did a lot better job at is personalizing all this stuff. So he's great at outlining the principles and even the evidence behind the principles. But I don't know. I've never read anything in Charles's writings about how that impacted him as a person,
Mm-hmm.
or how he came to see that through his own struggles or his own interactions, his own thought, his own working with the stuff. And that's not a knock. It just means like when I first started reading Fillmore years ago, I didn't read them because I thought it was way too
Yeah.
dry. And
I thought it was way too confusing. I didn't think it dry. I just didn't understand what he was talking
okay,
about.
fair enough.
And dense. He's a
And
dense
Dan,
writer.
yeah.
Does he have a reputation for having a very strong ego? Where it seems to me Myrtle didn't have any. Myrtle seemed so easygoing and so sweet. But Charles, he's just, I don't know, he radiates something in his writing. I agree with you. I'm not sure what it is, but I
Well,
didn't like it.
I actually think it's impossible for me anyway, to speak for myself. It's really impossible to separate the two. Um, they were a team and they were always a team. And the fact that his role was to explicate the principles is, that's the way we see them years later because we never saw them together. We never saw them as a team. That's part of why those of us that had the privilege of being in Dorothy and Phil's church got a taste of what that partnership could be like in person.
Mhm.
And so when you're sitting in the pews when Phil and Dorothy are leading a service, it had to echo back to the what you would have felt sitting in the pews if Charles and Myrtle were leading a service, which they did for years together. And this is what's left over for us. They didn't have television in those days, so there's no visual recording of these folks talking. Um, there's a couple of uh, audio recordings of both of them speaking that Mark has on his website. In fact, there's an excerpt of Fillmore reading the statement of faith on the website or the page that we're going to use. But even those are just snippets. Those are like, you get to hear Thomas Edison talking. That's nice, but it doesn't give us the full flavor. And so we do the best we can with what they left us, but I suspect it's not the same as if we could have been there and experienced their teamwork.
Well, and remember, before he was a self-ordained Unity minister, Fillmore was a real estate developer. So I would imagine he did have a pretty good ego. Um, he was a salesman.
Yeah.
I also read he was raised on an Indian reservation or near an Indian reservation, that he had no contact with Christianity or church or anything like that. He was just there and living in the woods. His dad was some kind of a trader with the Indians. And I read things and I think, oh, that can't be true. But is it true, Marty?
I wasn't there, so I can't vouch for that personally, but that's what he said. So why would he make it up?
Uh,
Okay, anything else? I mean, all of these things we can come back to, so it's not like if we don't talk about it now, we can never talk about it again.
I'm curious, Leo, what time is it in your time zone?
This right now?
Yes. Uh-huh.
It's now midnight here.
Really?
Wow.
Well, Leo, you get a commendation for being dedicated to come and join this family of friends. Um,
Yes.
I've enjoyed I think the honesty and the word that comes to mind is integrity, of which we gather and speak. That, people are willing to share things that you probably wouldn't, maybe you don't share with, your family or your neighbor. I mean, it's from the heart, and it's not every time, but you know, this is a safe space. and I appreciate that.
I
Me too.
I very much appreciated Cora Alexander as a writing. She did a 3 weeks course, and she sent me writing what to take to the heart when being in a gathering like this, and that's what I do. And for me, being with you all is not just a gathering. For me, it's communion. So that also means I'm deliberately taking down my walls to come here. And yeah, it's beneficial.
And I really
So
appreciate all of the background that you bring us, Leo. You have um, lots of experience and inquiry into things like the Egyptology and other parts of the wisdom traditions that aren't necessarily directly New Thought, but they're kissing cousins. And
yeah,
so I appreciate that you are willing to share that with us. And for those of you who don't know, Leo is also part of the Tuesday morning group that started all of this. That's where he and I met, and that's actually where Gretchen and I met as well. And it's kind of cool that the three of us can't get enough of it, so we go to two of these a week.
I know. I was
and,
thinking about
and
that.
I wouldn't mind if we repeat this initial series again. I would join again because
Yeah.
there is so much material that is just covered in the first six. It's amazing, and I can tell you every week I get adventures, and that is just amazing. Just the song "See Me Beautiful" has opened things to me that I cannot tell. I even don't know the words for it. But you people talk about Joshua had to go to the hell before he could transfigurate. Going to hell means you have to face your strongest fears, and that song is easing the way into that. I can tell you that from my own personal experience because every day I go into my personal hell. I'm doing that, and I'm meeting what's supposed to stay hidden, but I believe we have to reunite with that. And yeah, some people call it the subconscious. And what I'm experiencing, guys, that is I cannot write it down, but it's very very good.
Yeah. Well, I'd love to kind of follow on to that. Thank you, Leah. I completely appreciate what you're talking about, and I appreciate you, Marty, for bringing this group together, particularly as it's kind of like a 1-2 punch from Sunday, from Tuesday to Sunday is how I would think about the cycle of the week for me, and it's valuable to kind of walk through the content at some point in time and then circle back to this group who's at a different stage in the reading process and be able to, it's like an echo in a canyon, you hear it in a different way and it comes to life in a different way. And just a comment on the Charles Fillmore readings, certainly Myrtle's writings and Emily Cady's in particular is really valuable. But what I get from what Charles is communicating is, for me, is his pure thought as best as he could articulate it and write it down without any color commentary about how it's shown in his life. And what's valuable to that for me is that I'm not trying to repeat a Charles Fillmore experience, which can happen if I hear, what somebody's experiences is from the principal. It's like, oh, it's real if it shows up like this for me. And it's like, that's the beauty of Charles Fillmore is he just is kind of articulating the thought dimension of it and leaves the experiential dimension for us as readers to see how it unfolds. And that was really true for me in keeping a true Lent. So if there's, anybody who's hasn't read any Charles Fillmore and you want to take something small, but is, small like a freaking nuclear weapon or nuclear reactor, I'll just say. That is, that 40-day meditation, which ends up being 47 because he includes the Sundays, which, the Lenten process through liturgy, it does, but, they don't call it in the 40s. So you get 47 days of power-packed one-page gems that build on each other in a way that to me relates to the story that I would suspect that all of us know about, what is the 40-day walk of Jesus, and how the pieces and the components of that kind of reveal themselves. And then it gets to reveal, for me, it reveals in my own heart what the walk is that Leo's talking about, having the willingness for the subconscious pieces to be opened and cleared, opened and cleared, opened and cleared. And just really, really powerful of this kind of circuit that I'm experiencing from Tuesday to Sunday, and then having my own reading time in the middle. I'll be starting Keep a True Lent again, and as we enter into the new year. I'll just say that there are 9 cycles of 40 days in a calendar year.
Wow.
9 cycles with a couple days in between. So you get these 5 spacer days, so that your year can be considered multiple cycles of 40 days. And not that you want to do something every 40 days, so probably good to have some space in between. But the beauty of that for me is that I'm always in a cycle, and that Charles Fillmore is speaking about what he's seeing in the cycle, and relating it back to what Christ, what the Christ is doing inside of that cycle, and how Jesus is speaking about that cycle through the Christ in his walk through the 4 Gospels. I mean, it's just I just appreciate his clarity in that, even though sometimes it's deep and it's dense. I love Emerson, but I also find Emerson deep and dense. And this just, I think, shapes it more, where I can go to scripture and hear what Charles is saying, follow on where the scripture reading is coming true to that, and then carve my own path, which I think is what is offered to us here. My job isn't to replicate your path. My job is to walk alongside you, hear your experience, and then in that carve my own path. And last thing I'll say is I love daily word. Thank you for starting with the daily word here. That's a really powerful way. And Jeremiah 17:7-8 is like one of my absolute most favorite verses. That was the scripture from this. So always telling me I'm right where I'm supposed to be. Thank you.
Thanks, Gretchen.
Gretchen.
That was beautiful, Gretchen. You're definitely could be on the book cover for Fillmore.
Thank you. On the inside cover, yes.
I will say, Keep a True Lent is my favorite Fillmore book. And not just the 40 lessons in the back, or 47, as you say, but the front part of the book where he writes about. I mean, and I've never reflected on it the way you just said, which is Fillmore gives you the reference information, if you want to put it that way, for you to have your own experience. He doesn't, and that's a really beautiful way to present and describe Fillmore's writing. But I read Keep a True Lent every Easter as well, but start a little earlier so I could read the front chapters. Yeah.
The front chapters are just off the hook amazing. And I got really blessed with a copy that I got on eBay that had a handbook inside the Keep a True Lent, which is basically, it's like a study guide as a separate thing that Unity put out. I just bought another copy, and they did the same thing on this one, but it was a different year and a little bit different format. And one of the things that was great about the study guide is for the 40 lessons, which are, middle half and towards the end, it then referenced back for these 3 days, read this chapter, the early chapters. So it's weaving the front and the back. It was
Wow.
awesome. So know that it's out there. Know that there's this little Unity study guide pamphlet in multiple iterations for Keep It True Lent to walk you through it in a different way. And I think to help it be more digestible to those who are looking for what's the relatability.
That's cool.
Would you consider bringing that to Mark's attention so he might be able to publish it on Truth Unity?
Yeah, I'll give him the one that I like the most. I can probably figure out a way to scan it and send it to him, and so we can attach it to Keep It True Lent. I'll see if he even has it on there already. But that was really fun to see.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for
He
sharing that.
does. I just looked it up. He has
I
the
w-
study resources for
Okay.
1953, 1966, 1971, and 1981. So
That's it.
if you have different dates, then he might be interested in that, but it is in a PDF.
Yeah.
That Mark is amazing.
We listen. Mark, yes. What ministry?
I would
Unity.
like to add something else, and that is what Marty factors in the way of the Tao, Wu Wei, that makes such a difference. That makes me appreciate this group so much because, and not only that, also the feminine part here. Amazing, ladies, what you represent, because for me, you represent the practicality of how to do things. I mean, I'm very rational, but I'm trying to get it into my life, and I see you all practice that all the time, and I love how people here joke in the group. It makes it all so much more like an appetizer.
Like appetizer.
People joke? What's with that? This is all serious. Come on now.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
I'm still working on me as an appetizer.
Well, what's the name of that book again?
Keep a True Lent.
I'm going to put it in the chat, and I'll put the study guide that I have two of them, but I think the one that really does the best of working with the front material and the back material, I'll put that link in the chat as well. So because they are four very different versions. Claudia, thank you for showing me that it exists there. The 1966 version is the one that I think really hits home, but I'll put it all in the chat.
Thank you. Yeah, Keep It True Lent actually was the one that made Charles Fillmore accessible for me as well. And John, I think I told you about he has a chapter in there about the subconscious, and it was the first time I'd ever seen anything in Unity address the subconscious mind.
There's a lot that's cryptic that addresses the subconscious mind. And one of the forms it's spoken about cryptically is the feminine. That it's internal, that it's that subconscious manifesting force.
Yeah. I would agree, Marty. The revealing that comes through his clarity about the principle base of the subconscious and how it manifests, just as you were describing, John. It is A plus M in this small little guide. Delivers a lot.
Yeah. When I went through the feminist movement, and I was admonished to embrace my feminine, and I had no idea what that meant. And one day early in the 90s, I discovered that I emote through the masculine force. So then I discovered that the feminine in the Bible, like the reference to marriage, man, woman, is about internal in every one of us. So I could embrace the feminine, but that's what Leo was talking about. That Steiner says there's a guardian at that gate, and that's everything I don't want to look at to access that subconscious creative ability, because it could be dangerous. Could be somebody unskilled in there could make a mess.
No.
Well, maybe not, but yes, I see mess a lot around. So
For me, John, I like to add when something happens to me, I always say, let go and let good. And
Good.
I'm then directing that to let's say the upper gods, and not the God of my subconscious, because at that moment, I tell, let's say, the higher consciousness to rewrite my subconscious. And in that way, how you say that? I don't have the words for it, but
I
I'm
think
not getting.
it's in the daily reading with the Jeremiah. Trust in the Lord. That is that process. That what it's there. It's like,
Thank,
yeah. So
yeah, thank you. Yeah.
We have a few minutes left, so I think we're not going to start the statement of faith today. And but I wanted to just check in. There's a few people who haven't had a chance to speak, and I want to make sure that you feel comfortable. If there's something you want to share, that you're welcome to do that.
Well, I've already spoken, but I'm going to add this, and then I'm going to let you go, Sydney. And I'm so sorry I apologize for interrupting, but I have been dual processing here because I have a book that I think that Janet especially would enjoy, but I think all of you would enjoy. It's called Finding Margaret Fuller. I'm going to put it in the chat, by Alison Pataki. And it's a woman, it's a biographical story, not an autobiographical, about a woman who was a contemporary of Thoreau and Emerson. And it's a fabulous book about that period of time. My sister Lillian turned me onto it, so I'm going to give her this little footnote nod. But it's a terrific book and really kind of gives that if you were there kind of perspective. So
Wow.
now, Sydney, please talk. I want to hear what you have to say.
It was going to be two sentences, Claudia. It was just an expression of gratitude for this group, and this is only my second time here, but I just was recommended to me by Della, and I just am really enjoying letting all of this wash over me. And now I have a list of reading many months long.
Yes.
But I'm also excited to just dive in and learn more and really really feel comfortable here. So thank you.
Oh, great.
Always,
Welcome.
it's always wonderful to have newcomers. And John has just joined us recently, and just love it. And several of our regulars couldn't be here today, like Della, as you mentioned, and
Oh,
Diane, Diane and Veldon, and so we've got a rich group here, and that was originally the purpose I offered this, is because I wanted to hear, and I'm greedy. I want to hear the spiritual wisdom of y'all, because we all have. It's like Leo said at the beginning. It's like we all have our own hell that we've had to face, and what we've learned from that is what I find absolutely breathtakingly joyful. I think of my friend, I say this true, I think of my friend Janet, who is this amazingly courageous and brilliant woman who still beats herself up because she ain't perfect. And I just love
Yes.
I just love your willingness to share with us the torment of what you've done and the joy that has accompanied your breakthroughs and your finding Emily Cady. I I admire what you shared with us. It's brilliant. It's just
Oh, stop
utterly
it.
it's utterly well, you can turn the sound off, but it's utterly brilliant. And then Leo's this Dutch guy who speaks beautiful English who lives in Thailand. And I still don't know all the stuff that you've gone through in your life to get you where you are today. You drop hints all the time. Um, and then we have Kevin and Gail and other people who come and just be part of us and not necessarily speak. And that doesn't matter. I still see your face. I still look at that Gail. Look at that beautiful smile and that beautiful face of hers. And Kevin, his beautiful face. Like it's all part of the joy of being together. I think who was it that said use the word communion? Leo, I think it was you. It's like this is a communion, and that's what I wanted here. I really don't care what we read, frankly. Although I enjoy what we read, I just enjoy. I'm here to learn from each other and to just. It's kind of like it just popped in my mind. It's kind of like our ancestors have sat around the campfire and told stories about the great spirit hiding out in the darkness and how they dealt with them.
Mhm.
Yes, and those of us that don't enter the conversation a lot, we appreciate the people that do because it creates a lot of dialogue that we wouldn't have. So
Yeah.
thank you, Janet.
Yes.
And Leo.
It's been very productive this week having a crazy train to throw thoughts onto after you
I
give
was
them.
on the crazy train a lot this past week.
Thank you, Janet.
And it really works. The way you can, these things about demonstrations and how when you believe something and you really do believe it, it actually happens. And everything around this was the best holiday season from Thanksgiving to now that I've had in my life. It has such, there's a lot going on with the Rafferty gang and where, my roots and every other thing. And I just have been astounded at how, as I put things on that crazy train and said, I'm not even going to think about this, my whole spirit lifted up. It lifted up, and I can see how the pressure of the subconscious can really give you distorted thinking. And as much as I appreciate all your kind words, Marty, I've heard it before, and it has never helped me to think that I have anything to contribute to whatever it is we're doing. And I believe that is not something to be proud of. It's something to get past and to do what I'm supposed to be doing on this planet. And, going forward, and I have been all this past year because there's been so much inner change, and you all have lifted me up, and I know it. And thank you.
Amen.
Can't say fairer than that.
True.
I did also want to offer, Janet, to you, in case you haven't seen it, Mark has a couple excellent essays about Emerson on his website.
I've seen them.
Okay.
I've enjoyed them. Yeah.
Okay.
I just found out about the something that the metaphysical dictionary grew out of. There was an original book, a small book of like definitions, and I was going to write it down and I didn't. I'm thinking something every day or something, but I'm there. It was all in truth unity, and it explained it to me what it was, and I Mark's mind is a real Mark's mind is amazing. But that's what you talk when you talk about people's personal experience. I'm very quick to think, oh, I'm such a loser because I compare myself to Mark Hicks. I mean, am I crazy? So
Yes.
I have to really understand that what other people do and accomplish does not make me pathetic. It just means I'm on my own. What you explained, Gretchen, about being on your own version of whatever is
Yeah.
really important for me to pay attention to. Good.
You're on the Janet journey.
Yeah, and it's really interesting.
I was about to reveal my ignorance and ask about who Mark is. And then, Janet, you said Mark Hicks, and so I could probably find him, but I was interested in finding his website. Is that easy to
Oh,
find?
it's easy.
Okay.
Truthunity.net.
That okay, got it.
And somewhere in there is a whole thing about how he got started with it
Okay,
from his
great.
adventures in the archives at Unity Village.
It
Thank
is a
you.
magnificent rabbit hole, Sydney. Let me say that enter
I'm going
in
down. I'm going
and
down.
dive in head first. It is, I don't even have words for it. I do not
Thank you,
even have
Gretchen.
words for it.
Somehow
Super.
God gifted me with joining the group he runs on Tuesday morning for other ministers and teachers. It has nothing to do with anything I do, but I got into it and he said, you need to keep coming. It doesn't matter. And I listened to Susan St. John in Canada and him. Nobody ever goes. And it's it was a personal gift because I've really gotten to see how his mind works and the what he brings to scholarship and to humanity. He's an amazing person.
We also had Mark, after we met him, we had him come to Capital City Unity and do guest speaking from time to time. So there's several Mark Hicks talks on our YouTube page. I mean, he's just a remarkable. In fact, there's even Claudia. Do you remember we had him and Phil on together
Yeah,
a couple of
it's
years
on there.
ago,
Yeah,
and doing it. The
a dialogue.
Right. My dream was that Mark would essentially interview Phil and talk about Phil's role in the development of Unity, and Phil always Phil's mind always was on giving a talk. And so it turned out to be something a little bit different, but it's every bit as entertaining and informative as it could be.
God has a plan for all of us.
As Dorothy Pearson used to say, I never argue with God.
I'm with her for that. Yes.
Another great Jeremiah quote, for I know the plans that I have for you, and they are good. They are good.
Yeah. Claudia, is that book you told me, is it a novel or is it a
It's a novel.
okay?
But based
better.
on her true life.
She's a real person, though. She's fascinating.
Yeah.
Oh, I knew a lot about her. I've read a lot about her. And
Margaret
she is
Fuller?
fascinating. Yeah. And she is an interesting character in their lives. So I will get that book. I never read novels and I'm going to start. I think it's fun.
There you go, 2026.
Use those gift cards, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, my friends, we're coming to the end of our time together. Any last thoughts before we share the prayer for protection?
Well, again, we
Yes.
appreciate you, Marty, for
Oh,
doing this.
Marty.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Marty.
I see your
Thank you.
halo. And wait, are those wings? Aw.
Or my Fillmore
Back glow.
wings.
Your
I'm
Fillmore
I'm
wings.
I'm looking forward to what's coming in this next year with y'all. I'm
Great.
Good.
grateful to be here.
Thanks, John.
Okay.
This has been a statement of faith, Marty. Your desire for this hour, I believe, has been accomplished.
I'd say amen.
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 All right. So with that, let's say our prayer for protection together. The light of
The
God
light
God
surrounds
surrounds
us.
Surrounds
us.
us.
The
The
love
love
of
of
God
God
Of God
enfolds us.
enfolds us.
enfolds us.
The
The
power
power
of
of
Power
God
God
of God
protects
protects
us,
us.
protects us.
and the
The
presence of God
presence of God
watches over us.
watches
Watches
over
over
us.
us.
Wherever we are,
Wherever we are,
We are.
God
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 is,
is.
and all is
all
well.
All
is
is
well.
well.
Well, my friends, we're putting to bed the first quarter century of this century, and we'll start the second one in a couple of days, and we'll see you all next year.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Wonderful.
everybody.
Thanks all.
Thank you. Be
Bye.
well.
Bye.
Bye.
Love ya.